Overwatch has two things that is very important to the game. Its heroes and its maps. And a lot of the times in the past, they used it to their benefit by using these beautiful maps to tease what heroes are coming, which is where I want to place my focus today. Let's take a look at some of the hero teasers on these maps. Even before Overwatch 1 came out, they had different beta periods. And during one of them they had Volskaya with this teaser for Zarya. Which the teaser is pretty straightforward, it just straight up shows us Zarya. Which something similar was actually done with D.Va in the Hammond arcade, which inside there's this giant poster of D.Va. And a fun little detail you can notice that she has a different animal as her logo. Where currently she has a bunny, here you can actually see she has a cat instead. Which is a fun unused part of D.Va's design that can still be seen in game. But when we talk about teasers of this style, it's hard not to mention one of the biggest ones, which is of course Doomfist. Because as a newer player you might not know this, Numbani used to be a very Doomfist heavy map, with it advertising the Doomfist exhibit at the Numbani Heritage Museum, which also showed us these posters of 3 of the Doomfist, with the Savior, the Scourge, and Successor. And as you can probably see, the Successor is our current Doomfist. But he is actually the only one of the 3 Doomfist we can't read his name, because they wrote it in Omnicode. But if you ask me, this is one of my favorite type of teasers they do. It both teases a new hero and expands the world. Because before this, Doomfist was just a name in the first cinematic. But then all of a sudden, boom, he's like this huge figure that's been here basically forever in the world. And then we learn the current Doomfist isn't even the first one, which just lets speculation play in such a fun way. Another great thing is that we can actually see the gauntlet on the map, because it was inside the payload. But in early 2017, something changed. They updated the payload so we could see the Doomfist gauntlet has been stolen. And they even teased another hero. Going to the Darway airport, we can see it has been attacked by no other than Doomfist. And there's a bunch of robots lying around, which is a very special, unique robot model they used. This was actually a teaser for another hero, Orisa, who would come out before Doomfist. We even know the one that we see here that's knocked into the wall is the chassis that will be used to make Orisa. So we were actually just staring at the new hero, which is such a fun way to tease them. Horizon is another map with a bunch of great teasers on it, which is of course teased Hammond. First with this list of specimens that mentions all the animals, with specifically Winston and of course Hammond being shown as missing. Then later after an update to the map, they opened up the door to one of the rooms, which it was Hammond's room, and it shows his plan to escape the moon base, which ties into another Hammond teaser in What's Point Gibraltar, which we see Winston's drop pod he used, with this broken grapple attached to it. And I can't forget the last Hammond teaser, which is this poster he got in Junkertown, to show that he was a champion of the arena named Wrecking Ball. But he's of course not the only hero to be teased through a poster in Junkertown, which is of course the Queen. Which even back then she had such a great design to attach to, even though it will be another 5 years before she became playable. But something fun is that she actually used to be on the map itself. So you know currently, right now, Junker Queen has a few lines that can play on the map when you do stuff like enter the city.
You can come in this time, Mako, but Junkrat has been not been with ya.
Which he's always had that, but in Overwatch 1 she had a different voice actor do them, and her energy was very different. Which I'm just gonna let you listen to some of the stuff she says in the Junkertown trailer, to really get an idea of how different she just feels with her voice.
Listen up, you wretched scum. I see your struggles, trying to survive in the wasteland. It's time to face the facts. The end of the world's come and gone. Your past lives are a dream. It's time you woke up.
Queen of course isn't the only Junker hero that got teased early. So before Roadhog and Junkrat came out, we actually saw teasers of them in a Dorado map, which that teasers are pretty straightforward. We see the hole they blew into the wall to get inside the vault. We see inside the vault a bunch of objects related to them. And then of course the security camera screens has a picture of them inside the vault, which you can see they're just striking a fun little pose in this picture, which is such a fun way to tease these two. And I can't forget to mention this, something I really enjoy about this teaser is when you go out the vault door, you can see this trail of gold bars they left behind, which gives a good picture of how much they actually stole. But these two aren't the only 2 heroes to get teased on Dorado. On this table there used to be 2 files, one for this mysterious masked figure, who would turn out to be the vigilante Strike, or as you probably know her better by, Anna. Also, if you want to see Anna's file today, It's been removed from maps like Dorado and Anubis, but inside of Sombra's apartment in Castillo, you can still see it. But let's get to the second file, which was for Sombra. Which Sombra even had another teaser, where the screens on Dorado and Volsky would actually change, where they would say the message, Protocolo Sombra version 2.3. An even more fun thing they had is that if Bastion walked up to one of these screens, he would give a message in Morse code, which was the password to the Lamarico website. But the Sombra ARG is such a huge can of worms, which I think could be something fun to dive into in the future. One last fun teaser Sombra had, on these newspapers there was a small blurb and a picture of Sombra, but it was only of her silhouette, and it wasn't even her finished silhouette. It was actually a silhouette of this early concept art they did for her. Because as you can see, she had her hood up, which I love stuff like this. I love seeing some of the early stuff inside the game itself still present. Back when Oasis came out, Reaper actually had this voice line.
So what are we doing here, boss?
I need to pay a visit to a friend.
Which was of course teasing the hero tied to this map, Moira. Which I love teasers like this that show us basically nothing, but still inform us there's someone of note in this location. Another very simple teaser is here in Kanisaka, which has had this cool graffiti on the wall, which was teasing this so-called Kanisaka Fox Girl, which of course became Kiriko. One of the more recent teasers is here, in an Arctic peninsula, where one of the spawn rooms actually has posters for two places, Peru and Samoa, which was a slight teaser for two of the heroes that came out that year, which are of course Ilaoi for Peru and Malka for Samoa, which is a very vague teaser they did, but I still think they're some of the most fun ones, because it gets people thinking, oh, why does this location matter? Or it makes us think, oh, who's from this location we don't know about? But putting a bit more focus on Samoa, that of course also got a map, which had one of my favorite simple teasers they did. So the beach map had a bunch of huts, but one of them belonged to someone we knew, which the big sign for that was of course this, Malka's iconic shirt from the short story, What You Left Behind. Which to me, is just such a fun, simple way to tease this hero. Because the second everyone saw it, it was like, oh yeah, we know who this is. Now we're just waiting for them to make this a skin, because it's such an iconic look for him. So we can at least do something fun like recreate this shot from the short story. But that was just some of the fun in-game teasers they did for heroes, which I hope they really keep this going, because to me it's such a fun way to get heroes teased, because it gives a reason to really explore these maps, and really take in the great work the art team did for them. But hey, please tell me, what is your favorite in-game teaser they did for a hero? But that's it for me for now. Have a good one everyone, and remember to keep searching for this stuff.